National security in the shadow of a variant-fueled pandemic and threats to digital security. How can China steer through choppy waters? Advice from an international relations expert. Up next. Welcome back. This is World Insight. I'm Tian Wei. China believes development and national security are two key issues for its future. So last month, China lost no time rolling out the data security law, which will take effect September the 1st this year. Also in the pipeline is China's first biosecurity law for prevention and control of infectious diseases. The country is still facing challenges in the familiar geopolitical frontier. For example, many believe the U.S. rallying allies against China and efforts to delist Chinese companies from the U.S. markets. There are also small spikes of COVID cases around the country. How could the country better safeguard national security with all these headwinds? For answers, I talked to Professor Yuan Peng, the president of the China Institute of Contemporary International Relations. Let's listen in. Professor Yuan, what a pleasure to see you.
Me too.
Many have been talking about the rise of awareness in China about national security, but exactly through what lens should we understand this rising awareness of it? And what is Chinese policymakers thinking?
Actually, national security is the priorities for almost every country in the world, and also including China. From PRC establishment, from Chairman Mao to Deng Xiaoping to all the generations of the leadership, we all pay attention on the national security. But now I think China is entering the new era. The new era means many things, but at least one thing is that our national security environment, the challenges of which are unprecedented. For example, we are facing both traditional security issues like military security, sovereignty, territorial disputes, sorts of traditional, and also facing so many non-traditional security challenges. So how to face all those challenges in this very specific era, which means we are now entering into from the first centenary plans to the second.
Right.
We're facing more difficult tasks. So in these very terms, we need more cautiousness on national security.
Right. There are a lot of concerns coming from international investors about exactly what is China's direction of making policies and what does national security really mean to them and many others. Your take?
Yes, because we are facing so many difficulties, challenges, so President Xi proposed a very new thinking that is a holistic approach of national security. Means we need balance, so many different sorts of national securities. But the most important is how to balance the development and security. In past 40 years, accompanying with the reforming and opening up policy, maybe we put more attention on development. But today, we need to balance, make development more secure. So balance development and security is a first priority for us to pursue.
If you look at what China has been doing, you see also escalation of scrutiny coming from the U.S. side. For example, the SEC recently suspended some of the Chinese companies listed in the United States unless they are providing sufficient information more than they were asked before. So how do you see this escalation of demands coming from different authorities against or for these companies?
When we're talking about Chinese balanced development and security, mainly our target is our own companies. It's how to manage our own companies to make them development in the healthy track. A comparison with an American's national security law, including SEC and CFIUS, they have more leverages and more methods to target as a foreign companies. I think the nature of which is different. Sometimes what concerning Chinese companies more is that American government using sometimes even abuse of its national security as a leverage to attack Chinese high-tech companies. I think this is a different, because American is a long-time superpower in the world. They are good at using those national security as an methods, as an excuse to attack its foreign competitors. So in this regard, China is a defensive side.
What are the practices you think U.S. is using?
For example, long-arm jurisdictions, for example, economic sanctions, sometimes even using military methods. So in this regard, the Chinese side still is a very defensive side.
Will China change to the American
I think
type?
we're a different country. America's national security is for protect its a leadership role, leadership position, is to protect the hegemony. Chinese national security is to defend the Chinese, sovereignty, territorial, and the normal economic development. Mm-hmm. And it's for the average Chinese people so living a better life. Mm-hmm. So the nature of which is totally different.
We see the national data security law is likely to be exercised beginning from September the 1st. So, Professor Yuan, are we going to see one after another new legislations in China concerning national security? How could investors, foreign friends, and those that want to interact with China know more about what's going on, and so that they can plan?
Yeah, data security law is not Chinese invention. Every country, in particular those big powers, has its own data security law. China is a latecomer, actually. Mm. And every country, the leaders facing the same difficulties. That is how to balance to protect the individual privacy and its national security. Some countries maybe put more attention on privacy over a person. Some others maybe put national security as a priority. For China also is challenges. So we are doing our best to balance. This is one thing. The second thing is, and the data security law, we can view this as part of one systematic jobs for China. That is rule of law in a all-round way. This is we have a four comprehensive list. This is Chinese grand strategy. One comprehensive list is that rule of law in a all-round way, comprehensive list. So this is a part of our rule of law. We have brand new hundreds of new laws in past several years. Data security law just one of many.
Now, another thing is about the biosecurity. With the COVID-19, earlier SARS, a lot of people are paying attention certainly to that, China as well. But how do you see, the latest incidents of politicization of COVID-19, that debate going on in the world, vis-a-vis China's approach in terms of, pursuing security in that regard?
Biosecurity for many countries like America is not a non-traditional security issue. It's already a traditional security challenge problem. Mm. But for China, still something new. It's a non-traditional security issue. From SARS to the recent COVID-19 force us to think biosecurity. For many Chinese researchers, officials, let alone the average people, it's a new thing. It's a new thing. But we have to pay more attention on this. This is on the one hand is how to deal with those natural virus like COVID-19, SARS, and also on the other hand how to deal with a political virus like politicized those COVID-19 into a tool to attack its competitor. So all those force us to think bio in a security angle. That's why we are now paying more attention on biosecurity.
But how to understand, Chinese way of emphasizing on national security, how is it going to compare to, let's say, others? You were talking about China's and the United States, but how should others really understand China's approach?
Chinese approach is number one, people's security first. This is very clear from recent COVID-19, Wuhan, from many other cities. We always put people's life first. So compared with some other countries, their election, their votes first. People's life maybe not the first. This is very clear. And secondly, political security, we put it at a very high level, high priority, because in China, Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government, we are sometimes united into one. So that's why when some politicians want to separate the party from the people, they don't understand that party and people were one. So how to make a political security more strong is very important for Chinese moving into a stronger nation in the future. And thirdly, I think we also put economic security in a very important area, because Chinese secret of Chinese success lies in success of our economy. Economy is the foundation for Chinese development.
Right.
And also we put military, social, and other area security also important.
On the one hand, guarantee and safeguard one country's national security is understandable. Everybody is doing it. But on the other hand, how to make sure you can still make friends around the world, that seems to be a very interesting fine balance. How do you, as a national security expert, look at that fine balance?
First of all, I think when China defends our national security, I think it's a very basic, basic demands for China to pursue its modernization. Need to be understood by the world, by the other countries. This is a precondition. You cannot using politicized eyes to view everything that we are doing. This is a condition. And secondly, we need to do more explanations to outside world. And thirdly, I think we need more communications. I think even from recent Chinese American officials communications, both in Alaska and Tianjin, some others see they are quarreling with each other, but at least they are in a communication way. Communication is very important. Even if we have different stance, different principles, but when we communicate, I think at least the other side will know what's your concern.
How is China looking at the United States in terms of its global map seeking security?
Americans' way to defend its national security, I think, cannot be a model for China and for other countries, because America is unique. First of all, it's only a superpower. They have enough money, enough person to for example, they have more than 700 billion US dollars is annual defense budget, maybe equals to all other countries combined. So they can defend its national security in every corner of the world. And sometimes to defending its own national security, they can use every means they want, including the military war. So China cannot follow American model. Our national security is much more limited. Want to defend our people, our territory. We will not pursue a hegemon. Okay. And secondly, our national security is for Chinese people living a better life in a better world. So we won't follow American way, and we won't admire American way. And I also hope that in today's world, we can only pursue the relative security rather than absolute security.
Professor Yuan Peng, as always, what a pleasure. Thank you so much, sir. I talk with Professor Yuan Peng, who is the president of China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, who's well known for his research on national securities of China. That's all we have for today. If you'd like to see more Search World Insight, check out our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Tian Wei. On behalf of the team, thanks for watching. Bye for now.